Welcome to our Code Labs presentation. Our project was to create a currency calculator, and we're going to introduce our team.
Hey, my name is Ahmed Moussa. I'm from Seattle. I'm studying an application development program in North Seattle College. I'm a senior program this year, so I was glad to work with Marcelo and Panchita under supervision of Chris Myers.
Hi everyone, my name is Marcelo Morales. I'm a rising sophomore at Johns Hopkins University, where I'm double majoring in computer science and applied math. And I work mainly in the backend development of the application, and I'm really excited for this presentation.
Hey everyone, my name is Panchita Lopez, and I'm currently a junior at Hunter College. I'm studying computer science and minoring in mathematics. I was really excited to be part of the team, and I also helped Marcelo out with the backend portion. So our problem was that there are obviously many currency converters. However, there can be many ads, and also there's an overwhelming amount of options. So for example, I did a quick Google search, and these were the two first options that popped up for a currency converter. As you can see on the left, there are a very overwhelming amount of choices for the currencies, which can be a good thing. But if you wanted to just have a small list of the top 10 like most tradable currencies, that would be a good idea. And then on the right, this picture on the right, you can see that there are 5 ads just for you to like convert a currency, which is a lot of ads.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So our solution was to aim for a more sleeker, simpler approach and a currency converter, which contains the top tradable currencies and is also more user-friendly and also no ads. So now we're going to give a demonstration of the application.
Yeah, so here is our final product. It's called the currency converter. So the main thing you can do, it starts with the base currency of US dollars, but you can add a currency of your choice to make it the target currency, and it automatically converts it for you. So I'll just add like all of them for the sake of the demo, so we can see how it changes. So if we go back, and let's say I want to convert like $50, I can see that it automatically converts it for me. We have the Japanese yen, the British pound, Australian dollar, Canadian dollar, Mexican peso, Russian ruble, and South African currency. So yeah, that's our main application. You can see there's no ads, like Panchita said, and we're really proud of the sleek design. And this data is accurate, and it's constantly being updated. So yeah, that's our main demo for our application. So I'll go back to the presentation now.
So we had 3 weeks to complete this project, and here I've given a small picture of our timeline. For the first week, we mostly did a lot of research because there was a lot of functions and software applications that we were really unfamiliar with. So that was what we prioritized. We also had to connect to the database and implement the interface. For our second week, we built the API as well as connected to Spark Java and the other necessary software and web applications, which Marcelo and Ahmed will get into later. Finally, for the third week, we built the actual website, and we connected the front end and the back end to create the fully functioning project. And we also did some unit testing. Okay, so we have a diagram here. We have the front end, the Java code, which is the back end, the API, and the database. So the front end calls the server, which is the back end. We use Java Spark to get information from the database. And as for the API, we used one called Open Exchange Rates, which received information and saved it into the database. The database was updated every 4 hours because there were 6 entries a day in the database.
So now I'm going to talk more about the backend. So our IDE of choice is Intellij, and we chose this IDE because it has a lot of features. It makes programming in Java way easier. For example, there's like smart completion. It allows for data flow to be easier, and it just makes it easier to just access the database. And we chose Postgres for our database. We also use Spark Java. And just to introduce what Spark Java is, it's a micro web framework that makes it simple to do HTTP requests, and it's really easy to learn, and it makes it easy for us to communicate with the API and do get and post HTTP requests. And our API of choice was open exchange rates. This API makes it easy to get the newest information for currency exchange rates, and that was our API of choice. And like I said, it has a lot of information about currencies, about data, and about monetary exchange rates. So the tools we used, the first one we used was Maven. And what Maven is, it's a build automation tool used primarily for Java projects. It addresses two aspects of building software. First, it describes how software is built, and second, it describes its dependencies. So with a pom.xml file, we were able to add new dependencies and add new functionality to our application. So some Java classes we used was big decimal, and that was our main data type for handling the numeric data types that the currency exchange rates returns. And we chose big decimal because it represents a signed decimal number of arbitrary precision with an associated scale. So if we chose 2 decimal places for a currency exchange number, it was pretty accurate, and it's pretty easy and pretty efficient to return. We also use a JDBC connection because we're using a database, and JDBC just makes it possible to establish a connection with a data source and send queries and update statements. And to manage our database in Postgres, we use a data access object, which is a Java class that just accesses the data in the database. And we also use a data transfer object to transfer the data from the API and place it into our database. And then we also use Gradle, which is just a build automation tool for multi-language software development. And before this project, I had experience with C++. So if you're familiar with a makefile, it's similar to that. It just helps with compiling multiple files. So this is just 2 pictures I drew I got from the internet to explain more about the database we used in JDBC. So we used a relational database, which you can see here. That makes it easier to see the relationships that we had in our database. We had like, one of our tables was like a currency ID. The other one was the rate. The other one was the name. So that's how we were able to manage and update our Postgres database. So some backend challenges we had. I know personally, it was at first pretty difficult to communicate with the external API. When we were doing the GET request to get that new information from the API, it returns back a JSON. So a hurdle we had to overcome was parsing that JSON and getting the information we actually wanted. A second thing was constantly updating our Postgres database. It was pretty hard doing those SQL queries, and mixing it with Java code was a challenge we had to overcome. But eventually we were able to overcome that. And if I show you, I'm gonna show you some Java code. You can see here. So this is how we eventually communicated with the API. You can see here, that's like, this is our app ID, this is our open exchange URI, which is how we access that API data. And then here's the SQL code we used to create a table. So, and if you go to the left, this is our Java classes that we used. So I just wanted to show you guys the model and some Java classes we used to give you like a real life example of the code we used for our application. So I'm just gonna go back to the presentation now. And finally, the last backend challenge we had to face was having Spark Java receive GET requests. I know that's what Ahmed needed since he worked on the front end to get the JSON that had all the information he needed. So having Ahmed having Ahmed use a GET request to get the newest information was a problem I was facing. But through like Googling and like just like debugging and running some unit tests, we were able to solve that.
So for the front end challenge and GUI design choice, actually it was kind of, challenging at the beginning because I didn't have a certain idea about that. So I have to check out some websites and see just what's ideas people just look people's ideas look like, or what's the the currency exchange or conversion applications, like the web applications. And mostly I found most of them works like, just based on two currencies just at a time. So I felt like this is kind of limited ones. And in addition that, as we found the challenges for the ads as well, that it takes most of the page or the website. So it's not comfortable for the eyes to catch up or catch whatever they're looking for or working on. So, I have some approaches that I can add up the currencies in the list, which makes more easier for the user just to use this as even for comparison, or just if you need to work on more than one currency. So the user will have the choice to check or compare between the currencies. So I came up with this approach, which is make everything like a list and add up currencies as the user wants. So that was the to be this challenge for the user experience or user interface experience for that. So I wanted to use some frameworks with the suggestion from Chris Meyer, our mentor, Chris Myers, that to use Grails and or Wicked. But for the sake of time, because I joined this team later, and for these challenges to get the approach done on time, so I prefer to use simple one like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And I put most of the work on the JavaScript side. That makes it easier using the functions and all of that to give functionality to this list. And maybe in the future, I can think about just rebuild this front end side using React or some more advanced frameworks. Maybe you can add some functionalities, some other options, like it's not only just the currencies, it could be something else like other measurements or some other options. So this is for this side. And the other challenge was just to connect the front end side to the back end to get or call for the information about currencies. So the first one, I wanted just to call the server or the backend server, Java server, to get the information from database itself and just retrieve it as to look like real-time information from direct API, the open source API, but instead just getting this information from the API of the database API from our server in the backend. So I use the API, just the URI that I got it from Marcelo, just to work on that, and it was challenging a bit, but we made it done. So that's all about this side. So.
Yeah, so for further work, adding on to what Ahmed said, I thought we could maybe update tradable currencies because currency rates do rise and fall throughout as time passes. And maybe if it gets popular, create it into an app or something along the lines of that.
So for contact information, you can find me at my email's right there. And then Ahmed, what's your contact information?
Yes, this is iliamuk@gmail.com.
And mine is panchita@gmail.com.
And that's it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening for us. And thank you for working with both of you guys. I appreciate that.